Britain's Nigel Mansell was one of the most exciting and successful drivers in Formula One. Racing in an era which featured some of the all-time greats of the sport, such as Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost and Nelson Piquet, Mansell won 31 races and was world champion in 1992.
Actually be part of some of the history of Formula One, such the most fantastic motor racing sport on the planet, is something very special to have been part of.
Since retiring from F1 in 1995, Mansell has stayed actively involved in motorsport. As recently as 2010, he competed in the Le Mans 24-hour race. But in recent years, Nigel has focused much of his efforts on helping raise money for charity. He's president of UK Youth, an organisation which works to improve the lives of young people in Britain. Recently, Transworld Sport joined Nigel on his latest fundraising project as he led a bike ride from John O'Groats in Scotland to the French capital, Paris.
UK Youth is very dear to my heart because it's giving dreams and aspirations and education to young people who haven't got that opportunity. And basically, if you don't have an opportunity and you don't get the education, sometimes you make some pretty poor choices, but if you get the education, you empower them. If you empower children and young people to make better life choices, then they'll get into less trouble and they'll start making obviously smarter choices, being part of the community, and they are our future.
The 12-day challenge, covering more than 1,200 miles, would have been tough for anyone, let alone a man who'll celebrate his 60th birthday next year. Going into the event, Nigel had to overcome a broken collarbone, suffered in a crash on his bike just weeks before the charity ride began. Defying doctors' advice, he insisted on getting in the saddle, not the first time in his life that he's ignored medical opinion. Early on in his career, he suffered a broken neck whilst racing in Formula Ford, but discharged himself from hospital after telling nurses that he was going to the toilet.
Well, I'm stubborn. Third, fourth and fifth vertebra in the neck. There was a very, very bad fracture, and I was very lucky to survive and not be a quadriplegic. But yeah, I mean, the collarbone, a lot lesser injury, but it was very inconvenient, a lot of pain. But you don't let it get in the way. You have to sort of, soldier on. I've been a sportsman my whole life, and I wasn't going to let the charity down.
Starting at John O'Groats, the northernmost settlement in mainland Scotland, Nigel and his team set themselves a target of around 120 miles per day, with rest stops every 40 miles. Father and son Eric and Greg Craig were amongst those taking part.
It's going well, actually, better than expected. We were expecting to do about 25, 26 kilometres an hour, and we've been doing about 31. So I think there is a little bit of a favourable wind, which is helping. Oh, I'm telling you, Nigel's on fire there.
Despite retiring from full-time professional motorsport almost 20 years ago, the competitive nature that made Mansell such a force during his racing days is still very much in evidence.
You can see it comes from his racing days. Timing is everything. So to make sure that things are 100% in the morning is very important to him. And scheduling of time is, you can see it's almost a discipline that's been in there for life.
Competing against the likes of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, it was his attention to detail that helped make Mansell succeed in what many refer to as Formula One's golden era. The Englishman finished on the podium 59 times in 187 starts. His 31 race wins rank him behind only Michael Schumacher, Senna and Prost on the all-time list.
It's the pinnacle of all motorsport, I believe. 2 wheels, 4 wheels. Formula One is the quickest. I compare it to a stallion. It's just the thoroughbred of all racing throughout the world.
During his 13-year career, Mansell drove for some of the F1's biggest teams, enjoying 2 spells with Williams and also driving for Lotus and Ferrari. He remains the last driver to have been personally selected by Enzo Ferrari to race for the Scuderia.
I'm just so grateful on reflection to have the opportunity to drive for such great manufacturers, great individuals. I mean, Enzo Ferrari, what a legend, Colin Chapman, Sir Frank Williams, to win the races I won in the manner I won them. I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity.
Although Mansell's attacking and determined driving style made him popular with many fans, his stubborn attitude led to disagreements with many of the teams he drove for. After failing to renegotiate his contract with Williams after winning the World Championship in 1992, he quit the sport to compete in America's Indy Car series. And Mansell kept winning, claiming the IndyCar Championship in his first season. He's the only driver in history to simultaneously hold the F1 and Indy Car racing world titles.
It felt fantastic, but I was still interested in trying to be more successful as well. And then obviously, you're on the top rung of the ladder for a very short period of time, and then it was difficult then for me because I wasn't afforded the opportunity like a lot of other world champions to defend the championship in the manner that you won it. So then that's when I went across to America then, and we won another world championship over there, which was something very, very special.
These are our young people here.
Now channeling his energies into his work for UK youth, the John O'Groats to Paris cycle ride also involved Nigel visiting some of the 7,000 projects which the charity's involved with. Established in 1911, UK Youth helps more than 750,000 young people between the ages of 14 and 25. Charlotte Hill is the charity's chief executive.
It's all about building links, not just in the community. Lots of young people at the moment feel really disengaged and really disenfranchised in lots of different ways. The riots of last year really showed that. Lots of young people don't feel that they're connected in any way to their communities.
Nigel and the members of the team received a boost for the final leg of their journey as they were joined by those taking part in the famous London to Paris bike ride. And after more than 1,200 miles of cycling across 3 countries, the team reached the French capital to complete their trip.
We're in Paris and I'm pinching myself. I don't believe we've done it. Obviously hurting, very tired, but I'm just delighted to be here. It's just been a fantastic thing, and of course the greatest thing that's come out of it is raising funds for the charity.
The steely determination which Mansell showed so often behind the wheel during a glittering racing career is now being used to help benefit the next generation. And it's his achievements in retirement that Nigel Mansell hopes will define his legacy.
The biggest thing I'd like is what I've tried to give to UK youth. UK youth and reaching hundreds and hundreds of thousands of children, trying to make their lives better, trying to give them the biggest single thing in life that you can't really buy, which is education. If you can educate somebody and show them a better way to empower the individual to make better life choices, that's one of the best gifts in life, I think.